Hope Logan is on the verge of losing her balance as the week of June 17 to 21 begins. Her convoluted love life, her stressful marriage with Liam, and her unresolved feelings for Thomas Forrester are all putting a burden on her, and the rising pressure is making it difficult for her to cope. Hope has been attempting to keep up the appearance of being in charge for the past few weeks, but on the inside, she is a maelstrom of uncertainty and uncertainty. Despite the fact that he has been nothing but supportive, Liam Spencer has a certain feeling that something is awry. Not a single person has failed to notice Hope's recent conduct, which includes her distant eyes and her preoccupied chats. Liam, ever the concerned spouse, prods Hope in a gentle manner in the hopes of getting to the bottom of the matter, but Hope continues to evade him entirely. Despite the fact that she knows she shouldn't trust Thomas, she can't seem to ignore the pull she feels toward him. She is trapped between her allegiance to Liam and the strong pull she feels towards Thomas. In the meantime, Thomas has been playing his cards carefully, never pushing Hope too far, but always being there to quietly remind her of the bond that they share. In the event that she continues to struggle with her feelings, he is aware that she will get closer and closer to collapsing into his arms. The game of patience is one that Thomas is willing to play, and he is prepared to wait for as long as it takes. Throughout the course of the week, Hope's emotional conflict starts to become apparent in the behaviors that she takes. When she is with her family, she begins to forget appointments, skip essential meetings at Forrester Creations, and even lose track of time during moments that are really important to her. Brooke, who is always vigilant looking out for her daughter, observes these developments and becomes increasingly concerned about them. She is the only person who knows Hope better than anyone else, and she is able to recognize that something is really wrong. Brooke confronts Hope in the hopes of providing assistance. However, the meeting almost immediately becomes hostile. Having the impression that she is being cornered, Hope lashes out, accusing Brooke of being overbearing and failing to comprehend the circumstances she is in. Brooke withdraws from the situation because she is upset by Hope's outburst. But she is not willing to let the matter go. Turning to Ridge, she does so in the hope that he might have some understanding of what is taking place. Brooke's concerns are heard by Ridge, who has been coping with his own set of issues, but Ridge is conflicted about how to respond to them. On the one hand, he is eager to provide assistance to his daughter-in-law, but on the other side, he can't help but make the assumption that Thomas is connected in some way. The fact that Ridge is aware of his son's past causes him to be concerned that Thomas may be manipulating Hope once more. Despite this, he makes the decision to keep these views to himself for the time being, since he does not wish to stir the pot unless it is absolutely necessary to do so. During the time that Hope's world is beginning to fall apart, Liam comes upon something that causes him to be shaken to his very core. A series of late-night calls from Hope's phone to Thomas are brought to his attention by him as he is performing a normal check on his phone bill. His stomach drops as he comes to the realization that these calls were not a one-time occurrence. Rather, they have been occurring on a consistent basis over the course of the past few weeks. Liam's thoughts are racing as he attempts to make sense of everything that is going on. Even if he has faith and hope, the evidence that is in front of him indicates that something is wrong. In the midst of a conflict between facing her head-on and giving her the benefit of the doubt, Liam makes the decision to investigate more. Soon after, he begins to pay more attention to Hope's conduct, searching for any indications that could provide confirmation of his concerns. As a result of his inquiry, he finds himself in the office of Forrester Creations, where he observes Hope and Thomas developing a growing relationship with one another. Liam's blood begins to boil as a result of the way in which they interact, the subtle looks, the shared smiles. He is under the impression that he must confront Hope, but he is petrified of the information that he might discover. Having reached the point where he could no longer take the weight of his suspicions, Liam confronts Hope in a confrontation that is emotionally heated. In addition to presenting her with the phone records, he insists that she explain the reason why she has been in such close contact with Thomas. Hope, who was taken aback, makes an attempt to explain the situation, but her words only serve to create a deeper hole for her. Despite her insistence that the calls were completely innocuous, and that they were only talking about work, Liam is not convinced by her interpretation of the situation. Hope is finally able to break down and admit that she has been struggling with her love for Thomas. The anguish and betrayal that she sees in his eyes ultimately causes her to suffer a deep emotional wound. Although she is adamant that she has not taken any action based on them, Liam is unsure whether or not he can believe her. Almost immediately, the talk develops into a full-blown disagreement, with both Liam and Hope expressing their dissatisfaction with the situation. When Hope responds to Liam's accusation that she is too close to Thomas, Liam accuses Hope of being unduly paranoid and of not trusting her. Hope then accuses Liam of not trusting her. As a result of the dispute, both of them are left feeling emotionally drained, and they finally part ways without having anything resolved. Hope is thrown into a downward spiral immediately after the argument with Liam. During the process of attempting to make sense of her feelings, she begins to isolate herself and withdraw from the people on her immediate environment. There is an enormous sense of guilt that she has for hurting Liam, but there is also a strong attraction that she feels towards Thomas. She has been unable to find a way out of the cycle of self-doubt and bewilderment that she is currently stuck in. As soon as Thomas realizes that Hope is in a vulnerable position, he increases his efforts to win her over. It is then that he begins to take on the position of the friend who is there for her, providing her with a shoulder to weep on and an ear to listen anytime she requires such things. He takes care not to exert too much pressure on Hope because he is aware that she is still vulnerable. Nonetheless, he makes it very plain that he is there for her in a manner that Liam is not. Throughout the course of the week, Hope's behavior gets more and more chaotic. As a result, she begins to disregard her work, which results in her missing deadlines and making careless errors. The efforts of her friends and family to assist her become increasingly anxious. Nevertheless, Hope dismisses their efforts and maintains that she is in good health. On the other hand, she is well aware that she is not in good health. Liam, who is experiencing feelings of betrayal and heartbreak, makes a decision that will have far-reaching ramifications of its very nature. As he is no longer able to keep the facts to himself, he makes the decision to reveal the truth about the relationship that has been developing between Hope and Thomas. To begin, he confides in Steffi, who is astonished and upset to learn that Thomas has been interfering in Hope's life once more. Steffi is shocked and angry. As a result of his actions, Steffi, who has been working hard to mend her connection with her brother, feels as though she has been betrayed. Thomas is confronted by her, and she demands to know what he has become involved with. When Thomas is taken aback, he makes an attempt to minimize the gravity of the issue. Nevertheless, Steffi does not buy it. She cautions him to avoid approaching Hope, because if he does, he will have to give an explanation to her. Steffi is not the only person who is affected by Liam's choice to reveal the truth to the public. Additionally, he informs Brooke and Ridge, who respond with a mixture of disbelief and indignation to the matter. Ridge is split between his allegiance to his son and his concern for Hope, while Brooke is enraged that Thomas has been manipulating her daughter once more. Additionally, Ridge is concerned about Hope. The information quickly spreads across the Forrester, Logan, and Spencer families, and before long, everyone is aware of what has been going as a result of the situation, the repercussions and consequences of the fallout. As soon as the truth is revealed, the consequences quickly and severely manifest themselves. As Hope, who was already on the verge of breaking down, comes to the understanding that everyone is aware of her emotions for Thomas, she is crushed. At this point, she is unable to bear the weight of everything that has happened to her because she is feeling exposed and embarrassed. The revelation of the truth has left Liam feeling void and disoriented, despite the fact that he had anticipated that it would provide some clarity. Despite the fact that he is aware that his actions have sent Hope further away, he is unable to figure out how to rectify the situation. It is difficult for him to decide which of his feelings, his love for her or his wrath over her betrayal, will prevail in the end because he is divided between the two. Thomas, on the other hand, is the target of a wave of hatred and condemnation that is directed toward him. In a confrontation, Steffi, Ridge, and Brooke all confront him, and demand to know the reason behind his continued interference in Hope's life. The argument that Thomas is trying to explain himself by stating that he only intended to assist Hope is not being taken seriously by anyone, because even his own family has turned against him. He is left with the feeling of being totally alone and isolated. Hope's breaking point is the 10th chapter. When the week is coming to a conclusion, Hope approaches the point when she is ready to give up. The weight of everything that has occurred, including the confrontation with Liam, the disclosure of her sentiments, and the criticism from her family and friends, becomes too much for her to handle. She has the impression that she is submerged in a sea of remorse and shame, and she is unable to find a way out of this situation. Hope makes a last-ditch effort to find some sense of relief, and she does it by turning to Thomas, the one person she knows she should avoid. She goes in search of him in the expectation that he will be able to provide her with the solace and support that she so urgently requires. Thomas recognizes that this is his time to shine and extends a warm welcome to her, assuring her that he would be there to support her through whatever challenges she may be facing. Despite the fact that she is emotionally and physically spent, Hope allows herself to be consoled by Thomas. Even though she is aware that she is making a mistake and that she is only making things worse for herself, she is so exhausted that she does not care. Despite the fact that it is only for a little minute, she has the sensation that she is finally able to breathe for the first time in weeks. There is a dangerous game in chapter 9. As Hope and Thomas become more intimate with one another, they are both aware that they are engaging in a risky game. Despite the fact that Hope is still married to Liam, Thomas is well aware that the activities he takes could have significant repercussions. On the other hand, none of them is likely to give up. They have both become overly engrossed in their feelings, and they are both very eager to maintain the connection that they have discovered with one another. Liam, on the other hand, is kept in the dark and is not aware of how far things have evolved between Hope and Thomas. He is still suffering from the consequences of his decision to spill the tea, and he is at a loss for how to proceed with his life. He has feelings for Hope, but he is uncertain about the future of their marriage in light of what has transpired. With the week coming to a close, the stage is being prepared for even more drama to unfold.